Hey guys, it is Abdul, host of the weekend edition of Abdul Large here on 93 WIBC, as well as the editor and publisher of IndiePolitics.org. Well, we are getting close to the primary. Well, actually, as of Monday, this is really important, is when early voting begins. And that is when the rubber is really going to hit the road. Because from everything I can tell, things will really begin in earnest. Matter of fact, the campaign's already been heating up. If you listen to WIBC this week, you heard both Mike Braun, Todd Rokita, and Luke Messer all on Tony's show. By the way, you can hear those interviews at WIBC.com, where the gentlemen all tried to spell out their positions in this very competitive Senate race. Now, I can give you a little bit of insight on some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Right now, based on some of the polling data that I've been kind of privy to, one is sort of a party poll, the other one's kind of an independent poll. Right now, in the U.S. Senate race, Mike Braun, if I believe the two polls that I've seen, he is actually ahead. Now, one of the polls is the Braun poll, so naturally, their poll is going to say that they're ahead, I believe it's like by almost sort of double digits. However, the more independent poll that I got him insight on has them all a lot closer, like within a 5 to 8 point margin of error. But here's the weird thing. In that poll, Mike Braun is also ahead too. Matter of fact, both polls, if the data is to believe, are Mike Braun, Luke Messer, and Todd Rokita. So you've got, like I said, Braun's poll showing him with a real big, ginormous lead. But the other poll, they're all about within 5 to 7 points of each other. But Braun is ahead. Something else to think about too in this is the number of undecideds. Earlier this year, they were like the 50 to 60% range. Now, from everything I've been able to gather, that number is now down to about 30% of Republican primary voters are undecided. And here's something to keep in mind. I don't think there are a lot of hardcore Trump people left in that universe of undecided voters, because the Trump voter doesn't strike me as somebody necessarily has a sort of hem and haw about who they like and what they want to do. I think the Trump voter has already made his or her decision and have already gone to their candidate. So I don't think there's a whole lot of Trump universe left in there. Oh, by the way, hi, Marion. Hi, Scott. Appreciate you guys wishing me good afternoon. Just saw you pop up on the little screen over there. So thank you. At least I know there's somebody watching this stuff. So back to, I think the Trump universe is about pretty much done. And the thing to look for now is, I think the remainder, or a good chunk of those 30% of undecided voters are literally those undecided, kind of soft Republicans who will participate in the primary, but aren't necessarily really passionate about anybody. So that brings up an interesting question, as the campaigns go forward with their respective strategies on how to get ahead and how to divvy up that universe, what strategy will they use? Todd Rokita's kind of gone all out, as a Trump supporter with putting the red hat on and calling people rhinos or whatever. You've got Luke Messer, basically, taking more of that sort of high road approach in the kitchen with his, mom and son. You've got Mike Braun with the cardboard cutouts, which, by the way, say what you will about the content. Everybody spoken to has said those are actually really effective ads. So the trick is going to be, do those ads translate into votes? Because the interesting thing, particularly about Mike Braun, is that both Luke Messer and Todd Rokita both have a lot of organization around the state. Well, Mike has been running a real big air war, and he's been dominating the airwaves so far in this race. So it'll be interesting to see as we get into that early voting stage, because here's what's important, folks, about early voting, is you need to build as much of a chip in your system and you can as humanly possible, and make sure you've got enough people, who are there that you can build into your universe, because you can't necessarily count on those folks on election day. So this is where the campaign organization, this is where the phone banking and knocking on doors and sort of the ground war, that's where all those come into play. And that's going to be really interesting to see exactly what happens with, like I said, with the campaigns. Like I said, both Luke Messer and Todd Rokita, both, got some statewide experience to a certain degree. They both got the ground game. Like I said, Braun's been dominating the airways, but now we're about to get into really, really, real big trench warfare. And the other thing to keep in mind too in this backdrop is, once again, and I've written about this at WIBC.com, is there a blue wave coming, or is it just a blue haze? There was some more evidence this week. The Democrats tend to do, matter of fact, there are two pieces of evidence this week about the potential for Democrats to do very well in November. Now, granted, a day is a lifetime in politics, so everything I'm saying now is based on today, and next week could be tomorrow could be a whole different story. In Wisconsin, where Donald Trump won, a very liberal, progressive state Supreme Court judge actually beat the more conservative candidate, by about 12 points and some change. And that once again takes us to another universe of where there have been about 100 or so special elections so far since Donald Trump became president. Democrats have flipped 16 seats from Republican to Democrat, while Republicans have only flipped 3. Now, once again, is that indicative of what might happen in Indiana? I don't know just yet, because we still need a little bit more time to take a look at that. So like I said, once again, we've got the competitive U.S. Senate race. The ground game begins in earnest. Once those early votes start, you've got Mike Braun, who's been dominating the airwaves. And like I said, Joe Donnelly, everybody admits, is not going to be easy to beat. But that is just sort of my analysis as to where things are today on this Friday. Appreciate, as always, you guys taking moments to talk to us, to listen to us. Be sure to listen tomorrow on the weekend edition of Abdul at Large. And I actually have a conversation with a gentleman by the name of Adam Krupp. He is the tax commissioner. He's the commissioner of the Indiana Department of Revenue. And for all you people who waited the last week to file your taxes, you really do need to listen, because this is when you're most likely to make mistakes that can cost you money. All right, so that'll be tomorrow in the 1 o'clock hour, weekends 1 to 3 here on 93 WIBC. You folks have yourselves a great day and a great weekend, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.